Hey guys, Mah-Dry-Bread here for another one of these Q&A videos. I ended up getting a lot of questions really fast this time. I think I got like 10 or something new questions in a day or two. So, yeah, this will be going live in the morning. Don't know if you can tell if it's night or not. It's Thursday. Well, no, I guess it's Friday morning. It's 1 a.m. And I'm still just working away. So I thought I would go ahead and record one of these. If you guys want your question to be answered on this show, then all you have to do is go to the description to check out my Facebook fan page, and it'll link you straight to the post where you can make your comment, and I'll read it out and answer it right here on the show. So we left off on Nawaf. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. To Mah-Dry-Bread, I enjoyed your Let's Play of Front Mission. Will you do more Front Mission games or 007 games? Front Mission 1 is actually the only one I ever played. Of course, as I said in that Let's Play, I also played the DS version of it, so I have played the other campaign. And I know there are like 5 Front Mission games, I think, in the main series. I just simply haven't played the other ones. Some of them are Japanese only, and you need to find, like, a translated ROM and stuff online. But I think 4 was the last one to come out in English. So maybe I'll pick that up on eBay sometime. I think it's a PlayStation 2 game, so, yeah, my PlayStation 3, I've got an old PlayStation 3 that still does PS2 games, and I've got the hookups for my capture card, so, I don't know, I could record it if I want to. So I could pick that up and play it a bit, and who knows? As for more 007 games, I do have one more that I definitely plan to do at some point, which is I don't know if it has 007 in the title actually, because it's across the room. I don't have my glasses, but it's a GoldenEye Rogue Agent, but it is a James Bond game. Of course, it takes place in that universe, but you aren't James Bond. You're like a villain instead. It's a weird game. It's honestly not a very good one, but it's a really funny one, I find. So I thought that'd be fun to do for the show, because some of you may know that I did 007, Agent Under Fire, and Nightfire, and those were I liked doing those two Let's Plays. Those were fun ones. So yeah, I definitely have at least one more planned. Those are all the 007 games I own, but I could probably buy some more. 007 games are always really fun. Whether it's because they're good or bad, they always end up being fun. Next, Sam asks, which Sid Meier's Civilization game is your favorite? That's a really hard question to ask because it's one of my favorite series of all time. But if I have to pick one, you see, this is really difficult because Civilization 4 all around is probably my favorite. I love Civ 4. And Civ 2 is also really awesome, but Civ 1 has this special feel to it, but it's not really that as good as Civ 2. And I can tell you Civ 3 is my least favorite, where I like it, but I can never really get that into it. And Civ 4, for a long time I felt like it was probably the best one, and I probably had the most fun with that one. But at the same time, ever since the newest expansion came out for Civ 5, Brave New World, yeah, God, it's just such a step up from Gods and Kings to Brave New World, where I remember a lot of the hardcore fans really didn't like Civ 5, and I thought it had a lot of issues, but I still really enjoyed it. And then Gods and Kings came out, and it did make it better, but Brave New World was this massive step up in quality. And if you check my Steam, actually, the game that I have the most hours on Steam, by far, is Civ 5. Hell, I was playing Civ 5 like a few hours ago, just because I love Civ 5. It's honestly, it's a tie between Civ 4 and Civ 5 to me, but I enjoy all of the Civ games so much. Except for Civilization Revolution. Because if you've played any of the actual Civ games and then you play Civilization Revolution, it's just this huge step down. Well, I've told Hero quite a few times. Hero, Hero they call me on YouTube. He plays Civilization Revolution. I always tell him, I swear, just buy Civ 4 or 5 or something, and you'll never go back to Revolution again. But anyways, Christian asks, what is your battle station? Do you have multiple screens? Oh, do you mean like, what's my desk setup? Yeah, I've got 2 monitors. I've got my main monitor, which the webcam is mounted on top of. And I've got, you know what? I bet you I could show you. I really hope the cord is long enough to do this. I'm going to bring myself up on screen here. I'm looking at myself now so that I can see if you're going to be able to see all this. Really hope it's going to... Okay, you're going to take flight now. I hope you're okay with this. If I move the cord over here, will I have a little bit more room? It's tangled up in a bunch of other cords. Okay, it's my beautiful face. I'm going to try and turn around. Here's my microphone. And there's my soundboard that my microphone is hooked into. I've got like an actual professional studio mic now. Well, I have for a while, but here's my beautiful Sennheiser headset, and I've got my good old mechanical keyboard here. It's got all these extra macro buttons, and I've got all my crazy shit all over it because it's a gaming keyboard. You can see my gamepad back there. It's hooked into the USB hub in this keyboard. Main monitor right there. You can see Facebook where I accept the questions and everything. You can see extra drone logging into Steam playing Payday 2. That's my main monitor. That is a 1080p monitor. And then my second monitor, which is my old one, as you can see, I just started watching the Angry Joe Screw Attack Gaming Convention conference. I just started watching. So yeah, it gives away what I was watching. That's my old monitor. I use it as a second monitor now. It's incredibly helpful. For anyone who doesn't have two monitors, get two monitors. You can see my Wii sensor bar down there, a bunch of my glasses, my wrist strength thing, my phone, and my gamer mouse, and my giant Razer brand gaming mouse pad. It's nice and textured and $60 and really expensive. There's my PlayStation 3 controller and my water bottle. You can see my grooming scissors and my nail clippers, my toothpick. You can see my leopard gecko Betty over there. I don't know if you can really see her. The red light fucks with it a little bit. But yeah, that's a little tour of my game station, my battle station. Oh, and there's my teacup over there. I've got a lot of teacups, but this is the one I was using today. It's my samurai one, my sumo one. And you can still see the tea bag in there because I drink my tea black with the bag left in to steep it while I drink. And you can see my hairbrush because I brush my hair obsessively and clip my nails obsessively. Because I like to fiddle with things on my desk, which is why I got the wrist strength thing. Because, well, I have early onset arthritis, so stuff like that's important anyway. And plus joint decay, so yeah, it's a good idea to work out. You just... There we go. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'm kind of off center. Whatever, I'll fix it later. That's my battle station. Lore asks, man, Lore's been asking a lot of questions. If you can choose one Pokemon to train and take care of, who would you choose, other than Hypno or Drowsy? So basically the question is, who's my second favorite Pokemon? Coughing and Wheezing. They're tied in the same slot. It's like I said before, I usually put evolutions in the same slot. Coughing and Wheezing, my second favorite Pokemon / Pokemons. And I think the plural of Pokemon is Pokemon, right? Yeah. It is. It's gotta be. Pokemon sounds weird to me. Pokemons, that is. Joe asks, what's your opinion of BioShock? Story-wise, like, let's say... I'm assuming you're talking about BioShock 1. But I'll cover the whole series real quick, just in case you meant the series. My opinion of BioShock as a game. It's really, really cool, really, really fun. I really like the plot. I understand why it's not nearly as involved as System Shock 2, which I really like System Shock 2, which is what BioShock's based on, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, because System Shock's quite a bit older series. And I believe it was PC only, so console gamers might not know of it. But I can understand why it's a lot less involved in that way, because it did kind of have a barrier of entry with System Shock 2, where there was so much micromanaging. So I can understand why they dumbed that down a bit. BioShock 2 I thought was crap. I barely played it, but I thought it was crap. And BioShock Infinite I really couldn't get into. I thought the plot, like the game was almost entirely driven by the plot, and I wasn't totally into the plot. I understand everyone loves Elizabeth, and I also understand that a lot of people said, like, this is how you do escort missions correctly. It didn't feel like an escort mission to me. That's the thing. And I know a lot of people will say, like, that's the good thing about it. It doesn't feel like an escort mission. To me, it just kind of felt like, it kind of felt like I had a handicap, but not in the way of, like, I'm impaired. No, it's in the way of, like, if I turned on handicap mode in a game, where I've got a bonus walking around with me at all times, where she's invincible, and she just gives me stuff I need all the time. I didn't really like that. Didn't feel like an escort mission. It just felt like I was being handed bonuses every once in a while, and I don't like that, because maybe it's just me as a gamer, but it makes me feel like, you know, the game thinks I'm dumb kind of thing, you know? Like, I want to work my way through this on my own. I don't want to accept this help. I want to do it on my own. So yeah, that kind of bothered me. And plus the whole wormhole storyline thing of, there are the wormholes through infinite different universes and everything. That in itself is a wormhole to open up, having that in your plot, because they didn't seem to understand how that concept actually works. I guess you could argue that they took liberties with it because it's a video game and you can take liberties with these things. It's like magic in video games and in lore in general. Like, you can pretty much do whatever you want with magic, but I don't know. It bugged me that it tried to take a really scientific approach to it, and it's not actually accurate. So that kind of bothered me. Either in that, the gameplay is kind of the crux of anything when it comes to me. Like, I am basically graphics blind. I'll always say that is, I don't give a shit about graphics. It's not something that registers with me. And I know it's important to a lot of people, and for both usability reasons and just for liking the cosmetics of it, I completely understand that. And it's completely valid to love graphics in games. It's just not something that, like, even registers with me. I have people tell me all the time that they can't play Fallout 1 and 2 because their eyes just glaze over and they get a headache looking at the old graphics. And I can understand that, it's just that doesn't happen with me at all. So, yeah, it's just not really something that I can, it's not something that happens to me. And so the stunning graphics of BioShock Infinite, I can look at it and understand that it's stunning. I just don't particularly care. So gameplay is what matters the most to me, and the gameplay just felt lackluster and repetitive. It just didn't really do it for me. I hope that answered the question. Abby, yes, and this was actually a question she asked before, that it didn't show up for me or I missed it. I'm not entirely sure what the deal was, but I talked to her a bit on YouTube and resolved the issue. So here's her original question again. And I actually answered this on the Facebook as well to get her an answer faster as kind of an apology for not being able to answer before. But I will read it off on the YouTube video as well, this YouTube video, because I want everyone to hear the answer. Abby asks, hello, I'm one of your American viewers who started off on your creepypasta readings, and I'm finding some of your Let's Plays entertaining. I want to pause there and say the vast majority of my viewers are from the United States. If you have an English-speaking channel on YouTube, then like 70% to 90% of your audience is from the United States. I actually have a large following in both Eastern Europe and the Scandinavian countries, which is kind of strange, but that's kind of a byproduct of doing strategy games. Strategy games and anything post-apocalyptic. Strategy games will get you Scandinavian countries and a bit of Eastern Europe. Anything post-apocalyptic will get you a lot of Russia. Just strange things you find on YouTube. But it's cool. I like having more of an international audience. Gives you more variety, you know? Talk to more people, reach people in other parts of the world. It's just cool to me because, you know me, I love the civilization games. I love kind of geography and different cultures and stuff. It's something I'm into, so it's really cool to me. Having an international audience. Not that it's a big audience, but hey, I'm getting there. I'm an artist by trade and was wondering if it was okay to make fan art of you. If so, where can I post it? And I'll read off my response to her that I wrote here. Sorry, Abby, I didn't see your comment before. I'll answer it here, and as well as at the start of the next video. It's one that I want to make sure everyone hears. I'm gonna click see more. By all means, you're more than welcome to make fan art. I'd really like to see it. My eyes are glazing over, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. If you want to find somewhere to post it, either here on Facebook or on the forum would be good spots. If it doesn't let you post it here on Facebook for whatever reason, I can put it on here myself. Awesome. So, yeah, is there anything I need to expand on that? If anyone wants to do fan art for myself or the show or PTCP or anything like that, by all means, go ahead and do it. Like, you don't need my permission, but you by far have my my thumbs up on that. I can't articulate it right now for some reason. I swear I'm just too tired. I don't know if you can tell all the way from here, but my eyes are pretty bloodshot. I've been sleeping like trash for a month, waking up at like 2 p.m. But yeah, that's really cool because I don't think I've ever gotten fan art before. I had exactly one fan video in my entire career on YouTube, and it was when I hit 100 subscribers. I don't know if the guy even watches me anymore, but I still remember his YouTube channel. I believe it was called Sympathy Do or Die. And if you search, I think if you just search the word Madraut, which you can see Medraut, that's how you spell it, it's my name. If you search that on YouTube, I think one of the first results is like I don't even remember the name of the video. It's like congratulations to Madraut567 or something, which was my old username. Although I always called myself Mah-Dry-Bread on the show. It's just because I made the account in like 2006 or something before I had the nickname Mah-Dry-Bread. So yeah, it was just this cool little fan video that I found absolutely hilarious. In fact, there are memes from that video when I had like 100 subscribers from like 4 years ago or something that I still reference today. I still refer to Jawan as Jawala Hulahi half the time because he was referred to as that in the video, and I found it absolutely hilarious. And that's also why the meme of Jawan gets friendly with fire still has not died off. Jawan, if you don't know him, he's on Pass Controller Please every once in a while, and he's the owner of the Walkthrough Corner, TWC, which is a collaborative channel that I'm a part of. I don't think any of us have done a video on that channel in like 2 years, but if you guys ever want to check out the backlog, it's the Walkthrough Corner on YouTube, and I'm on there. I still have a series on there. It's just I haven't uploaded on it in like 2 years. But anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah, it's really cool to me, the idea that some people actually want to do like fan art of me, because I'm just some dude sitting in my room making YouTube videos. So yeah, if you want to, yeah, I'll promote the hell out of that. You have like I don't know, a DeviantArt, or do you do commission art, anything like that? Because if you send me the picture, I can like put it on the Facebook page, I can put it in its own album, and in the description of your picture, I can like link your DeviantArt and like your commissions page or your email you do commissions by. Anything like that, like your YouTube, I don't know. Just really just tell me whatever you want me to put in there, and I'll put it in there. It's your art, and if it's going to be on my page, then you should get your own stuff along with it. I think that's really cool. So yeah, if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. That'd be awesome. Kimmo's also asking a lot of questions. Was my suggestion for screenshot warfare any good? Also, what's your criteria for a screenshot warfare suggestion so I can find more delicious material? I looked at the suggestion and I thought about it for a while, and ultimately I decided I wouldn't do it entirely because when it comes to screenshot warfare, for a long time, it was basically any time I got, like, someone was doing some kind of really stupid argument with me, I would find humor in that and be like, okay, this is getting a screenshot warfare. And again, anyone who on my channel who has seen screenshot warfare, has watched that series, always tells me all the time, like, they ask me, when's the next one coming out? Because they always really like that. It's one of the ones they're very vocal about. The other one being Flash Trash, which, I swear, the next episode's coming. If you've been here on the Facebook fan page, you'll know the recording travesty that happened with the last one, where we recorded the last episode of it, or the most recent episode, not the last episode. We're not ending the series. We recorded the most recent episode of it, and the recording just died right after. The footage went all corrupted, and it was unsalvageable, which is unfortunate. But, yeah, people always ask for more screenshot warfare, and in the beginning, it's like, I still read every comment I get, but at this point, I'm like, it's so blasé to me. I get dumb comments every day of people just saying phenomenally stupid things. We've all been on YouTube, right? All of you, like, I know it's only like 1% of people who watch videos comment, but hey, all of you who watch me and haven't commented before, comment on this video, because a lot of you who don't comment are probably not commenting because you've seen how bad YouTube comments can be sometimes. We all know it. The good comments are the vast minority. I've seen some dumb comments. And so, like, I've gotten so used to it by this point that I guess I just don't find humor in it as much as I used to. Where they have to do something really spectacular for me to find it hilarious enough to do a screenshot warfare. And of course, they have to respond to me over and over and over and everything, because we need to get an actual conversation going out of it. So, it's just, I don't feel like I have material as much as I used to. And as far as it goes as, like, requests for it, I've done requested ones once or twice in the past, and right now I'm just kind of in a mode where I feel like if I haven't participated in it in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't feel like I have that personal attachment enough to find it so funny. And if I don't personally find it funny, I don't feel confident enough in making content out of it. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that if I'm putting out a video, it's up to at least my own standard of quality. And I just, when I look at these and I think, like, I could voice act this, maybe get some friends in, voice act some more characters, but I just don't know if I can make it funny. And yeah, it's just kind of like reading a third person flame war. Like, it's just like, oh, these guys are idiots. Is just kind of my reaction when I read it. It's not like, oh my god, this is so stupid, it's golden. It's not that kind of thing anymore. So, I'm not saying by any means Screenshot Warfare is dead. It's a thing that will never die. as long as there are comments on YouTube, Screenshot Warfare will find a way to exist. Whenever you think you've read the dumbest thing ever, something dumber will happen the next week. So, patience, fans of Screenshot Warfare, because I can guarantee more is coming. But as far as like fan suggested material, I think just leave it to me for now, and I'll find ones. Bob asks, so I found you via DOWSS, which is Dawn of War Soulstorm, but I kind of suck at it. Do you have any tips for Space Marines? And would you like to play a game when you have some time? I barely ever play. It's funny, because before I ever did, people don't know this. A lot of people don't know this, because a lot of people's, well, I guess you'll understand why in a moment. Before I was doing, before I started doing creepypasta about a year and a half ago, not even that long ago, I've been on YouTube for 5 years. Like, actively doing videos on YouTube for about 5 years. It wasn't until a year and a half ago that I broke 500 subscribers. The creepypasta is what did that. Everyone started watching the creepypasta, a whole bunch of new people found me. Most of those people, 97% of the people who subscribe from the creepypasta don't watch anything else. It's really a shame. They don't, according to my analytics, they don't even give anything else a chance. They only click the creepypasta, and even then, not many of them click the creepypasta on the first day. A lot of them subscribe and just stop watching me after that, but they never unsubscribe. It's weird. It's kind of disheartening sometimes, but whatever, it happens, I guess. But anyway, I'm sorry I got a wild tangent there. Before I did those, I was known as the Dawn of War guy. The vast majority of my subscribers, of those like 450 people, 90% of them found me through my Let's Plays of the Dawn of War series. The Dawn of War 1 series, that is. I haven't Let's Played Dawn of War 2, although I have played a lot of Dawn of War 2 and Retribution. Those Let's Plays were absolutely terrible, but for some reason people really like them, and I don't go back and watch them, by the way. They really are terrible. I didn't profile my white noise in half of them. No idea what I was talking about. I was just an average player at the time. I'm a lot better now, but even then, I played like one match of the game in the last year, maybe year and a half. Like when I started doing creepypasta, I had already not played Dawn of War in like a half a year. For some reason, people really assume I'm this Dawn of War guy. It's an RTS I like. It's one I barely play, though. Like, I'm a huge RTS fan, and that's just not one I go back to very often. I just happen to know a decent amount of it, that right now I'm above average. I'm an above average player. That's it. I'm no master at the game. I routinely fail the game at the hardest difficulty, as far as memory serves. Like, I think when I was training for that tournament that I was originally holding, I could consistently beat the hardest computer player. Now I'm wildly out of practice, and that tournament never happened, by the way, just because like this huge string of like basically like one guy wouldn't be able to compete. Like they were in originally, and then they compete. It's like, well, shit, we need one more person to do this, and then like 3 months later, I'd find a person to do it, but then another person would have to drop out for a reason, and like it went like that for a while, and eventually I just called it off because it's like, fuck it. I'm too busy with other shit anyway. As for any tips with Space Marine, don't get much infantry in the beginning of the game. Try and get to the second tier units as fast as you can. Get vehicles as fast as you can, because your vehicles are a real strength for you. And simply understand that your units, your infantry are incredibly tanky, and take full advantage of that. Do not be afraid to retreat. Try and not fight on your own home turf. Fight outside of your own home turf as much as you can, so you have room to retreat and heal if you need to. because those infantry, if well managed, can last you the entire game. They'll save you a ton of requisition. You'll save a ton of requisition by keeping these guys around as much as you can. I know this is something you could say about a lot of teams, that you should really be careful about not letting your squads die, but it's especially important with the Space Marines because not only are they hardy and you can really keep them around, but they're very, very expensive. They're some of the most expensive. They're one of the most expensive teams in the game. So really try your best to keep those units around and get vehicles as soon as you can, because a strong early vehicle push with some infantry to back it up and of course capture points can be really hard to stop, especially with the Space Marines. So that's my tip to you. Did I answer that question properly? Oh, and would you play a game when you have time? Probably not. I barely ever play the game. Second last question. Daniel asks, can you tell us about your fiance? I don't know if there is to say. Her name is Fatima. She was born in Baghdad. Uh, she is she's partly Arab and partly Turkish. Her family has ties to the Turkmen Party in Turkey. She's lived over here in Canada for the majority of her life. She spent a very little amount of time living in, I believe it was Iraq, and she also spent a little bit of time living in the United States when she was very, very young. I don't know what else to say. She currently works as a barista at Starbucks, although she just applied to another job and may get that soon. It's another retail job. I believe it's at a high-end clothing store. And she is currently going through college for all kinds of analysis, economic stuff that honestly I just don't understand. So yeah, that's all I can really think of to say off the top of my head. And we've been together for, in November, it will have been 5 years. Last question. Kimmo asks, man, I was saying before Kimmo asks a lot of questions. So what are the exact components that make a country's economy? And what exactly is wrong with the USA's economy? Of course, you give me a really hard to answer question at the very end at 1:35 a.m. Damn you, Kimmo. Okay. First question, what exactly makes up a country's economy? This is a really hard question to answer because it's not really a well-defined thing. Generally, when you talk about... Okay, here's an easier way to answer basically the same question, just by rewording it a little. What makes an economy good? What are the components of a good economy? Sorry, I'm spitting water because water got on my mustache when I drank, and then now I'm talking is flying around. I'm sorry. I'm a disgusting individual. When an economy is good, how can you tell that it's good? I'll answer that because I think that'll answer the question in a better way. And I'll tackle the USA one as well. Although it'll be pretty self-explanatory after I explain this. An economy is the country... I guess you would say an economy is the country's backbone in terms of finances. And of course, a country is not only just a landmass with a government, but the most important part is it's its people. A country is a landmass with its people in it. So when I say that, a large part of economy is not just the government's finances, but a massive, massive part of that is also how financially well off is the average population of the country. So we're talking about the average wealth. How good is that? Does everyone have jobs? Are these jobs paying them enough that they can eat and have shelter and all the necessary things? How many luxuries are these people able to get on the average wages? How much of a disconnect is there between the very, very rich and the very, very poor? Are the very poor, like the comparatively poor people, how well off are they? All kinds of things like this. And of course, your homelessness is a big thing in that. So, is the country in debt? Is the country making a lot of money? Is the money going in the right places? Are the people okay? Are the people financially well off? These are the kind of questions that you have to ask when you're determining how good is a country's economy. So what makes the USA's economy so bad right now? Well, they are trillions of dollars in debt. The government of the country is trillions of dollars in debt to China. They're constantly taking loans. This is a big, big problem. What if China asks for their money back? They're taking out loans from a far richer country, China, whose economy is much more powerful. Although, not necessarily for the best reasons in all cases, but it's undeniably a much stronger economy. So the country's massively, massively in debt. So that can cause problems of they need to get this money back. This means that the government, when they get their money, they need to decide, they get their money from their taxes and everything, their trade taxes, they're taxing on sales, they're taxing the people, everything they need to tax, they get their money in from that. And they then have to decide how are they going to how are they going to use this money? Where are they going to pull this money? Some of that money is going to have to go back to their debts sooner or later, which means there's money going to the debts that isn't going back into recirculation of the people. It's not helping with infrastructure. It's not helping with repaving roads that are run down. It's not helping with paying for important things like the care of the mentally ill, stuff like that. Like, I know the United States does not have free health care, which is insane in a world in which almost every country has free health care, so they're not really paying for that. In a way, they're kind of paying for some of the upkeep, but not really. They need to pay for their education system, of course. That is to say, the ones that you actually don't pay for yourself, which is another travesty of the post-secondary education system, or any private schooling you would have to pay for, although that tends to be privately owned. It's another way that they try to take some of the burden off the money of the government, but at the same time, it doesn't pay them back, in that some of the burden of paying for these things is off them because it's privately owned, but that means that it's not nearly as good and not nearly as well funded, which means that the people aren't as educated and they have to pay for their own education, which means less people are getting the education they could need. That could in turn make them good business owners and create more businesses that would then, of course, because of business tax, help the economy in the long run. And that's kind of the crux of it. The USA's policies when it comes to their economy tend to be very short term. And as you can understand by looking at their economy nowadays, it's really biting them in the long term. They have little boosts here and there that help them a little bit, but in the long term, they're sinking and sinking and sinking, and it's really hurting things. In fact, it's hurting Canada too, because they're buying out our industry, which means they get, again, a quick benefit of they get to capitalize off the stronger Canadian industry, but then it starts sinking and sinking and sinking because it's going down by the American laws that they're governed by. So it boosts up, but then it just keeps going down, and it's not a net gain, it's a net loss. So they're going more and more in debt, the people are getting more and more poor. The United States is one of the worst countries in the entire world in terms of the difference between the rich and the poor. The poor are insanely poor and unable to pay for the most basic of things for them, so they live on the streets. And that in turn, if they're living in the streets, that means they have a very hard time showering, eating, and thus they have a hard time retaining a job or getting a job, and they're stuck in this vicious loop of just homelessness. And the government doesn't really have enough money to pay for all of the homelessness. They don't have enough money to be paying for enough shelters so that these people aren't starving and dying, and enough government infrastructure for them to make enough jobs so that these people can be given a job, trained in this job, whether it's probably not going to be a very good job, they're not going to be living well off, but they can then get back on their feet and eventually work their way back up to living a normal life and be happy and be contributing to the rest of society a lot better. They can barely pay for their own food stamps. And believe me, like, some people in the United States don't seem to look at the statistics on this stuff, and they seem to think, like, people on food stamps are mooches. Like, they're getting everything paid for them. No, people on food stamps are living an awful life. Like, this is the only thing keeping them from dying. People on food stamps need to be helped. Like, they need someone to pick them up off the ground and help them. It's not that they fucked up. Like, even if they did fuck up, they deserve a second chance. But it's often that life just gave them the cold shoulder. They got fucked over. Someone should help them back up so that they can live a meaningful life and be happy with themselves and be content and not be afraid of starving and dying. So don't rag on someone for being on food stamps. If there's anyone out there who knows people who are mean to people for being on food stamps, educate them on this because it's really fucked up. Don't rag on people for that because they're suffering enough. But anyway, I'm rambling. All you need to do is look at the numbers. The United States economy is in bad shape. It's really there are not nearly enough jobs for the population. The country is massively in debt. The difference between the rich and the poor is absolutely massive. And because people personally need to pay for so many things that you don't need to pay for in other countries, they simply can't afford the things they need. In Scandinavian countries, you don't need to pay for any education. You need to pay for most of your education in the United States. You don't need to pay for public elementary school or public high school. I believe not for high school, at least. As far as what I know. And that's good, because these are mandatory educations that people need. And I'm not necessarily saying high school is for everyone. I know a lot of people who actually dropped out of high school because it's simply not the learning style for them. And they're perfectly intelligent people, and they did their tests after. There's a test, I'm blanking on the name of it, but there's a test you can take if you drop out of high school. There's a test you can take that if you pass it, they basically say, here's your diploma, you didn't need to go to high school. And that's okay, because everyone has a different learning style. I didn't like high school at all, but I'm happy I went through it entirely for the social end of it. I'm happy that I feel like I grew as a person through the social end of it. The education end of it, I feel like I got very little out of, because I'm naturally an inquisitive person. I learned most of what I needed to learn on the internet, because I like to learn, and I like to learn on my own. The classroom wasn't really the thing for me. There were some classes I really liked and I learned a lot out of. Most of them I learned very, very little out of, and had a very hard time keeping up with. But as you can tell by talking to me, I'm not a stupid person. I have the ability to retain information, and I like to think that I am able to then teach it back at a decent, with a decent skill. I have a hard time articulating it, but in the end, I get the words out, I guess. And that's just kind of who I am. So school's not for everyone, but education is an important thing, and it's very important to have the option there, especially post-secondary. And when the economy is this bad and so many people are so poor, they simply can't afford a post-secondary education, even if they would have wanted one, and if it would have helped them live a fulfilling life. A life that even, in turn, helps the economy, which is why Scandinavian countries have not only such good education that is so fueled by the money that the government brings in, it puts back into the education to make it as good as it can be. Make sure that people can go to college or university for free so that anyone can go, and anyone can get that education and then live a fulfilling and happy life where if they want to do it, they can, and if that's not the thing that they want to do, they don't have to. It's these choices that are really important. Like, people will say USA, land of the free. You're not free when you can't afford the most basic needs. So yeah, a lot of these countries have a lot more socialist infrastructure. I know it's a bad word in the States, but Canada's way more socialist than the United States is, and we're a lot better off in these respects. Yeah, the tax is a lot higher in a lot of these Scandinavian countries, but you still have way more personal wealth than you would in the United States left over, and these people tend to be a lot happier and safer because the government puts the money where they need to put the money. And yes, they're taking extra money, but in the end, you're living a much better life. That's kind of why I always say communism can be a really good thing. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, but communism doesn't work. We all know it doesn't work. It gets corrupt every time. No, it doesn't. You can say that same argument about any kind of government. Any kind of government could work and could also get corrupt. You can't tell me the United States is a pure democracy. They have laws in place where you can't technically run for presidency if you're an atheist. That's not a pure democracy. If you're an atheist, you don't get a chance. You have to lie and pretend you're not. That's not equality. So you can't tell me that the United States is a pure democracy. You could point at any government type in the world and not come up with a single example of an absolutely pure, to the dotted line example of that government type. Everyone messes with it a little bit, and in some ways it's better, and in some ways it's worse. Every government has its own degree of corruption. All that matters is if that corruption hurts the people or not. In a lot of cases, it doesn't. In a lot of cases, it does. We've seen all kinds of people overthrown for having horrible governments, and there are all kinds that have horrible governments that still haven't been overthrown. Overthrown. I'm illiterate. You see, I didn't go to post-secondary, and high school was no good for me. So yeah, I think I went on a rambling tangent again. You can tell that I am very passionate, and I do a lot of research into stuff about the countries and its people. Because that's something people tend to forget a lot, especially when you play a lot of games like Civilization like I do. People seem to forget, like, a country is not just the government and the landmass. The country really is its people. And the people need to be happy. A lot of people have this weird thought of, like, progressing with your life is moving up the career chain. And being rich and wealthy and having lots of houses and expensive cars. No, your goal in life is to be happy. That's the bottom line. Like, I don't care what religion you are. I'm atheist, but no matter what religion you are, isn't the ultimate goal to live a happy life? Yeah, a lot of your religions may say that after you die, if you've been a good person, you'll go to an even better place than here. That's great, but I think we can all agree that we want to make life on Earth as good as it can be, because no one knows for sure what happens next. And even if something even better happens next, you still want this time to be good. And what makes you happy? Making other people happy. And everyone likes being happy. I don't think anyone doesn't like being happy. So make people happy while you're here. You'll be happy when you make other people happy. That's what I strive to do with my content. Whenever I feel really, really down and look at my numbers, I'm like, fucking no one's watching this video. Like, 80 people watched this video. I take a second and think, yeah, but of the people who clicked it, there are 80 people yesterday who watched the previous video, and they decided to watch the newest video. That's 80 people that I made happy today. Or at least interested. I made them interested enough that they would click the next video. For some reason or another, they decided it's worth 10 minutes of their time to watch the newest episode of Let's Play Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine by Mah-Dry-Bread and Brandon War Zero. For some reason, they've decided that that is something they want to do. And you know what? That makes me happy. That I made them happy. So, yeah. Remember, whenever you're bummed out, make someone happy, because you'll be happy too. I think I went on a massive tangent. I really hope I answered your question satisfactory. If I didn't, let me know and I'll try again. Maybe I'll write... If I didn't answer your question well enough, let me know, and I'll actually write a script next time. We'll prepare, like, a more formal script for it, so that I can give you a more coherent response, but... yeah. I actually feel pretty good about myself right now. That cheered me up, thinking about how people smiled watching this video. That's nice. Yeah, I'm in a good mood. It's a damn shame it's almost 2 a.m. and I can see the lights out in the hallway, so my mom's probably gone to bed. I still live with my mom. Yeah. It's a shame. I'm in a good mood. When I'm in a really good mood, I usually want to record. Can't really record anything else tonight. I don't want to wake her up. So I guess that's the end of this video. How long have I been going? Holy fuck, 45 minutes. Almost 45 minutes. I've been, oh god, I look horrible. All my hair has come out of my ponytail, and the light is reflecting off my hair, makes it look all greasy and gross. Ugh. I didn't have time to shower today, and I'm just, yeah. I'm just making weird noises at this point. I'm overtired. I still have that weird feeling in my left side of my hip general area, although the pain is gone. If you didn't get that, you need to check out my Facebook fan page, which, by the way, if you'd like to ask me a question, all you have to do is check out the Facebook fan page in the description of this video and ask your question to get answered right on this show. Did I remember to record my microphone? I did. Okay, good, because last time I didn't. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, have a nice day.